Hey YouTube, this video is going to be really casual because it's so late it's tomorrow.
Happy Thanksgiving!
Happy Thanksgiving. So Andre, want to explain the concept of the video today?
So today's video is going to be a tier list of where we think the Vanguard standard, not premium that is. Maybe we'll do one for premium if we really feel like it.
I have absolutely no idea what premium would be.
But,
way too much wacky tobacco in that format.
For standard, it's just going to be super simple. We'll discuss where each clan is on the tier list, what exactly they have going for it, what exactly they need, or what is bad about them, good matchups, bad matchups, you know, those kinds of things. So we'll do it like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. We won't mention like 0.5 or 1.5, 2.5, because we just don't like those.
Yeah. My definition of the tiers is that essentially a average deck would fall between 2 and 3 somewhere. Mm-hmm. And 1 is extremely good and 4 is extremely bad.
We have our friend Ryan for color commentary today if you would like to offer anything, since he's been playing a lot of standard recently, so he might have something to say about it.
Yeah, I do. Guys, for my birthday, I bought the Spiral video game. I'm sorry.
I guess that's his opinion of standard.
Let's go right into tier 4.
Or as I like to call it, shit tier.
We still have to, by the way, reach a conclusion to our battle of the shits. But in this tier, we have Dark Irregulars and Nova Grapplers. So we'll discuss Dark Irregulars first.
Way too inconsistent.
Yeah, this clan has almost nothing going for it except maybe a very powerful Death Anchor.
No, it's got plenty of good things going for it. It's just that you can't really deploy them in any sort of consistent way. Because, like, you've got plenty of retire options, but there's no way to search out the grade 3 that retires, and you can only retire with Gwyn in late game. It's got plenty of defensive options, but they need soul, and it's got the soul charge options, but if you don't have something to go off of them, then they do nothing. It's got plenty of power attacks, but they need the field to be set up exactly the right way. And to top it all off, it doesn't have any sort of countercharge engine, so once you're done counterblasting, you're just done.
That's actually just really awful. They didn't give them any countercharger.
There is one countercharger, but it's really awkward.
Is it the damage swapper guy?
Yeah, so the way he works, you can pick a card from either damage or drop, and if you pick a card from damage, the top card goes face down, but no matter where you picked it from, if it is the grade 1, you get an unflip. So specifically in the situation where you call him and soul charge the grade 1 from drop, you get an unflip. And that is the only countercharger in the deck.
That almost seems not worth it to run, actually.
Yeah. I cut him.
I mean, good matchups, bad matchups. I mean, just too many bad matchups to probably think about it.
Well, it does okay against, like, slower things, because if you can get the wombo combo going, it's legitimately quite threatening.
So, I have a question.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts of it against, and how they match up against the future sets?
Awful.
Well, hold on. I think because Angel Feather might be a little slow, they could match up against Angel Feather nicely.
That's a fair point.
Narukami,
Narukami's gonna kick their ass.
No, hold on. I don't think Narukami can play fast enough. Alright? I don't think...
It doesn't matter, though. They're a control clan, and if you're getting controlled out, then you have no shot at using Death Anchor, and if you have no shot at using Death Anchor, you have no aggression.
But what if they can't out-control Dark Irregulars?
Then that would require Narukami to be in tier 4, and I don't want that to happen.
Hold on. No, this is what I'm saying. What if this was the matchup, alright? So, what if, like, clans like Gold Paladin, Murakumo, the current clans that are beating on Dark Irregulars, what if those are still going to beat on Dark Irregulars? But what if they lose to, like, Narukami... No, not Narukami. Wait, I put Narukami in that spot,
Well,
right?
so the idea is that would be true if it was just a meta consideration that was keeping it down, which is probably the case for some of the other decks, but unfortunately not for Dark Regulars. Dark Regulars just have too many pieces going in too many different directions that don't really add up, unless it's the exact ideal situation.
Unlike Nova Grapplers, though, it is just maybe a couple support pieces that actually make the deck really good. At least that's my opinion, so it could be a deck to watch out for in the future. Especially Death Anchor. Death Anchor just needs the right pieces, and I think Dark Irregulars will be fine.
So, Nova Grappler.
So, Nova Grapplers, I love playing Nova Grapplers to death. But the deck just has a lot of issues going for it. One, it doesn't really generate any kind of resources whatsoever, so you're reliant on all of your pieces either coming from hard drawing them or from drive checks. Which puts you in an awkward position when you're facing against control clans like Kagero or Shadow Paladins. Those matchups are literally unwinnable because it just takes maybe retiring of some of your better units, which in this case is only really Maximum Riser, to really slow the deck down. Unlike, say, like Aquaforce, as a multi-attacking clan, it doesn't have any way to get above the 23k mark, which means that one trigger destroys your turn, which means the deck just loses hard to variance, which Vanguard is a variance-oriented game. Even your countercharging engines are very inconsistent, and you don't run them. Except for maybe the Hero Grade 3 that I have, but even then that's not enough to save the cost. Like, Perfect Riser in a vacuum is a very good card. Like, just being able to restand 2 rear guards guaranteed and have sort of a built-in countercharging engine for on-hit pressures is very good. But the problem with Nova Grapplers is they have no support behind it to make Perfect Riser really shine, so you're sort of forced to run, like, this wonky Seratizer build with, like, crits in the grade 1 that restands when you get a PG, but even then that, it just has no chance against the meta right now, so... Unfortunately, Nova Grapplers are going to be staying in Tier 4 for the foreseeable future, and without support coming out for at least another year, it seems like they're really going to be in the dumps for a while, so...
Dark Regulars do have the benefit of Vilista Leader to look forward to, so...
Yeah. I mean, sorry, Nova Grappler fans.
Dantarian, we could do it.
I know there's a lot of you. I know there's a lot of you Nova Grappler fans out there, and I'm sorry, but it looks like y'all are going to be in the dump for a little bit.
Alright, so, moving on to Tier 3, or as I like to call it, below average.
So in this tier, I would think we would put Aquaforce, Mega Colony, and Grand Blue.
What?
This is the issue where it gets kind of tight, because 2 and 3 are probably the closest of the tiers.
They're definitely interchangeable. Like, I know a lot of the community says that Royal Paladins are bad. It's becoming a meme by this point.
Although, I would have put Royal Paladins down here before the mini booster, but having the Exculpate variant at least gives you another competitively valuable way to play.
But, I mean, I think these clans are probably going to be your Tier 3 clans. So, would you like to start with Mega Colony, since I got to explain my other favorite clan?
There's just not a lot that it's working towards, unfortunately. It's just kind of a beat-down deck, which is fine, but it's... This is why it's not Tier 4. Like, mechanically, it's perfectly sound. It's just that it doesn't do anything particularly special or notable.
Even the Antline, like, Phantom Black Wanderable combo, it's threatening, yeah, but it also just takes, like, a couple triggers in hand, the opponent playing smart to really get by. I mean, the deck has no real bad matchups, per se, but it also has no really fantastic good matchups, except for, like, maybe Nova Grappler and Aquaforce, which, like, congratulations, you're beating on 2 Excel clans that are hardly played right now.
It's one of those things where, again, like, if this had been back when it first came out, it probably would have been Tier 2, but, you know, it's just a little bit of staling with time.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't think the deck has any support to look forward to in the next year, so it seems like Mega Colony's in a bit of an awkward spot right now. You definitely...
Fortunately for them, again, power goes good with everything. It's never going to drop lower than this, probably, because it's going to continue to work the way it does right now.
Spark Hercules is a good card, so that is something for them to work forward to in theory, craft around.
Yeah, so Tier 3, room for improvement. Grand Blue, I love them. I personally put them higher, but it's debatable.
The numbers, I think, in America don't back it. I know it was doing well in Japan, which is just why Grand Blue is a big disappointment here in the US. The deck is fun. The deck, I think, could legitimately be in Tier 2. I think it does have a lot going for it, but just I don't think the numbers really speak for themselves right now.
I think there may be a part of that comes down to just tournament scene. Like, there's a lot of things that Grand Blue can do that, say, something like OTT would just do better. But at the end of the day, it's got like a really cool style, and
I just have one.
It does a little bit better power attacking, so it's definitely not tier 4 bad, but it ends up getting outshined a lot by other decks, which is unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. When do you think they're going to bring back team regionals?
That's in the spring, right?
Yeah, that's in the spring.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Anyways,
Sorry for the off-topic questions, YouTube.
next clan in tier 3. What do we have?
Did you forget?
Oh, it's Aquaforce.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Alright.
So this is your baby. I just strangled my baby. Your turn to strangle yours.
So I guess anecdotally, I've done well with Aquaforce almost every time I think I've piloted them. But the community just seems to have a consensus that this is a tier 3 deck, and the results would likely support it. I mean, I do know it won the Greece BCS, and I think it just recently finished second in the Portugal BCS. Although none of those are really like a good sample size to say that the deck is good. Aquaforce has a very good early game going for it. Arguably the best early game, I think, in Standard right now, along with Shadow Paladins and maybe Royal Paladins. But kind of like Nova Grappler, that early game can be stopped by a defensive trigger. So the deck definitely has a hard time, I think, fighting against that. There's also consistency issues because just like Nova Grappler, you don't have a hard way to plus in that deck. So once again, you're sort of reliant on getting all of your pieces either through hard drawing them for turn or just from drive checking them. You might even have to play more you might have to play more draws just because of that, which means you lose out on the crit pressure, which is what Aquaforce is about as a high roll deck.
Yeah, this deck I think slid down fairly quickly just because it's so hell-bent on speed that once other fast decks came out that were doing other things, it was another case of it just ended up getting outshined.
The Shadow Paladin matchup just is the sole reason why this thing is not tournament viable. I mean,
first off, it has a very bad matchup against Control, and then, what's the reason you'd want to play Aquaforce over, say, Pale Moon?
Exactly. Pale Moon does what Aquaforce does, but just better because you have the Soul sort of as a toolbox for a little more consistency.
Right.
Whereas with Aquaforce, the only thing that you really would get over Pale Moon is, the possibility of a Maelstrom restanding Vanguard. But even that, it's just people just have to know how to guard really correctly. I do think that Maelstrom's not as bad of a card as people make it out to be. He does help Aquaforce and Nova Grappler's hit force numbers above the 23k. But even then, even though a lot of Aquaforce's units can hit above 23k, you're hitting for 5k guard, 10k guard, which is not a lot these days to finish off what decks like OTT or Shadow Paladins or even Murakuma, which can maintain large hand sizes, or even Royal Paladins for that matter. So the deck is really just held back by, I think, a lot of bad matchups against things like Spike Brothers, Shadow Paladins, Royal Paladins, Kagero.
Speaking of all those decks, Tier 2, or as I like to call it, everybody else.
This is one of those things, though, where I'll put an asterisk next to it because it could potentially be a rogue option because it does do well against Murakuma and OTT. And strangely enough, Dimensional Police, which is just, weird, but I've done well against it.
Are you still talking about Aquaforce?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So,
well,
put a little
I've
asterisk
already moved on to Tier 2.
Alright, so Tier 2 we have a lot in here. We have, Dimensional Police, Kagero, Royal Paladin, Spike Brothers, Pale Moon's in there, Tachikaze.
But you know what? I gotta say this about Pale Moons, okay? The weird thing is that Grand Blue can beat Pale Moon.
I mean, you lost the best 2 out of 3.
Well, no, you lost the best 2 out of 3 as well.
Hang on, because that's just a case of sometime. It's not a ridiculously bad matchup one way or the other. And it's important to note that, even...
Oh, okay, here's what's up. Aren't Excel clans supposed to counter-protect clans?
Kind of.
But, I also wouldn't put too much stock in that.
But anyway, the point... I actually might move Tachikaze down to 3, but that's... The point is, the most notable decks in this tier are going to be probably Royal Paladin, Dimension Police, and Kagero. So, Kagero. I love it. You love it. Everyone loves it. And don't let me hear you say otherwise.
Nah, I hate it. I'm an Excel player. I hate it.
So, yeah, it's one of the few control decks in the game right now.
The deck is actually very solid. It always ends up being near or at the top of a major event.
Because this is one of those things where it just couldn't get outshined, because right now it's doing something that almost no one else does. Like, Dark Regulars has some control options, but we already talked about what makes them bad. Shadow Paladin has some control options, but that's generally not the way that people play the deck.
It's reckless control.
It's reckless control, and I love it so much, but, it's not the way you're supposed to play it.
So, if you were to compare Shadow Paladins, Lee, to any of the other card games you play, what would you compare it to? Come on, this is Card Games United.
I don't know.
I were to
actually.
compare it to another card game. That's interesting.
Another card game deck.
Because I know what I would compare it to in Vanguard. I'd compare it to early Narcomi, which is why I like it so much.
Okay, what about in, let's say, Shadowverse?
Something that... Okay, so Reckless Control and Shadowverse would pretty much be like random destruction type stuff. Which...
I was thinking Lindworm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Really? Or at least, Mysteria.
No, Mysteria's way too targeted.
Yeah, but I mean, the way they
I know what
enhance their spells.
I would compare it to, like, Yogg-Saron from...
Oh, boy.
Because it just has that element of just, I'm gonna blast missiles all over the place. Whatever dies, dies.
Actually, the weird thing is...
Yeah, no. But we're getting off topic, and this video's already 17 minutes long. Kagro. Obviously, you've got that really strong waterfall combo that was baked right into the deck so that it could remain competitive, and it still does. Everything about the deck that worked day one still works. Probably going to stay at tier 2 a long time. Andre, you want to talk about Royal Paladins?
Interesting deck. Everyone says that they're ass in the community, and by this point it's becoming a meme. And I think the reason is that deck is easy to learn, but it's a very high skill ceiling deck. It's a very hard deck to master and play because you have to know so much about your other matchups and other decks inside and out. Because you have to know what plays are certainly better. Like, do you want to plus against this clan, or do you want to use the Blaster Blade Retire option? So, it's a very versatile and interesting deck, and I think Execuplet just giving a board wipe gives them a lot of options. But like, ultimately, the OTT matchup is still a little bit unbearable, which is why the deck is kept in tier 2, I think, in my opinion. But it's certainly just a really good grade 3, I think, away from being a very competitively viable deck. It's just right now, Kingdom Knights Alfred and Alpharilla are just detrimental to what Execuplet is looking to do, so...
You know, I got an Execuplet idea. A new one.
What?
So, instead of the Alfred Early and the Benin, alright, you could put in, obviously keep the Soul Savers in, keep the Execuplet in, but, and this is gonna sound a little weird, put in Gigantic Destroyer, or Crusher, or whichever Gigantic, great... Charger.
Anyway, odd deck ideas aside. Tier 1, the big boys.
Oh, we forgot a couple other things.
Oh, hell yeah, we did, but we have to skip over them because if we tried to talk about every deck we've put in Tier 2, this would be a fucking 50-minute long video.
Yeah. Tier 1, we have our big 3, Murakumo, Shadow Paladin, and OTT. Protect, Excel, and Shadows. It's kind of a triangle format right now.
So, I think the obvious first place to start would be with OTT, because it's been what was sort of defining standard meta for a long time now. So, OTT came out the gate. It had a lot of different utilities, had plussing, had power, set up a big final turn.
Trigger manipulation, the game of variance. That's a big thing.
It was able to play defensively and had a solid offense to back it up. It did basically everything you wanted your deck to do. And
It should have never made it out of R&D.
It was all very sound design, so none of it is staled at all, and it's just stayed on top. Which is why every time now we're talking about what they've done to respond to OTT. So.
It sucks now. Right?
No, OTT's good now.
We're still topping.
It's just not, super broke ass good. Because now it's got partners up in the high tiers. Yeah, there was a time when you could argue this thing was tier 0 and didn't have bad matchups, but now it actually has bad matchups.
Murakumo.
Particularly the other two top tier decks.
So, I guess next is Murakumo.
Yeah.
Deck is
So-
interesting.
I've said it before, the way I would define Murakumo is as anti-meta.
Yeah, it's really interesting being an Excel clan, but it plays more like a little control-based rather than just like your typical aggression.
Or Narukami plays like control based.
They're not out yet.
Okay.
Well, I've said this before, I'll say it again, we can't really define playstyle based on Imaginary Gift. Because there are a lot of different playstyles within the Imaginary Gift sets.
You know what? Lee is right, as much as I'd hate to admit it. Because if everything fit their imaginary gift, then Narukami would either be Force or Protect. Let's see. Murakumo would be Protect.
Dark Regulars would be Force.
Yeah, pretty
So-
much.
Yeah,
Spikes would be Excel.
right. So, Murakumo. It just responds to everything quite well. The whole gift stopping sort of counters a playstyle that we'd all built very
Except-
heavily in the 6 months before it existed.
Except when Great Nature comes out. It's not going to be able to gift stop.
Oh, you mean Hamscape?
Yes, I mean Hamscape.
Fuck you.
No, when that set comes out, here's what's gonna happen. Murakumo is gonna be shit. Alright? I hate to say
I don't
it.
think they're gonna be shit.
No, they're gonna be shit.
It could
Gear
happen, unfortunately.
Gear
just
Chronicle-
because-
Gear Chronicle is gonna be able to superior ride. Gold Paladin can superior ride. Alright? Freaking what else?
That is true. They did immediately put in counters to Murakumo in the form of Angels and Gold Paladins. So
Although the Gold Paladin
Clearly-
was really
clearly-
inconsistent.
clearly what happened was they were sitting around at the Bushi R&D table and they went, we gotta build something that hard counters OTT. And they're like, okay, we'll stop them riding. They can't do their ride combos. They can't get into Imperial Daughter. It'll be a really bad matchup. That's great. And then they're like, it's all over tournaments. We fucked up badly.
Well, I mean, what didn't Kyo Yahagi run those Murakumo cards in the manga like that?
Yeah, the stopping ride and stand combo.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you could say that their hands were probably tied by the manga, but that's a discussion for another day. Last but not least, Shadow Paladins.
Ew.
Honestly, they're gonna be stopped by A, bigger retiring power with Narukami, B, Gold Paladin's superior calling capabilities.
Gold Paladins are probably gonna actually be really hurt by them, actually.
No, Gold Paladins, it's gonna... Yo, okay.
The deck doesn't
Gold-
have a lot of superior calling
Gold only
options.
has one plussing option.
I think it's Vivian.
Vivian.
Yeah.
But other than that, you can
Well,
call
they have a
from
grade
the
one
hand.
that can do it as an act.
Yeah, but
it's
calling
a
from the
counterblast too.
hand isn't plussing, whereas Shadow calling is plussing. So the idea is the reason Shadows are so good right now is that it's back to being Granddad's fucking toolbox, where you can retire, you can call, you can play aggro, you can play slower, you can control, you can burn. There's a lot of different options versus something like Gold's, which is just attack, 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 attack. So if a Shadow Paladin player sees what you're doing and goes, alright, I'm a slow play, I'm gonna burn off his front row and I'm gonna just dig my heels in and not let him kill me and he'll run out of resources before I do, they win that match. Versus if they go up against, say, OTT, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna ride my Blaster Dark, turn 2, ditch a card, call out these things that get plus power and start hitting face, they're gonna win that match. So,
It's a really versatile deck, actually. Really fun.
yeah, it's back to Shadows being Granddad's toolbox, which, for some reason, Bushy just decided Dark Knights means they can do whatever the hell they want.
No, Dark Knights mean they have big two-handed swords, and they have long-range attacks and AoE attacks. You know, whatever.
I mean, they
So-
have
sorry,
long-range attacks in the form of burns and AoE attacks in the form of control.
Sorry,
It's a
guys.
metaphor. It works.
I played way too much Final Fantasy 14. Actually, it would be great to put some
Okay.
Final Fantasy on this.
So-
Who wants to play the Final Fantasy card game? Nah, I'm just rambling.
I mean, we might.
Okay. Andre?
It's the whole point of the channel. We're card games united.
I might.
But specifically as to Vanguard, that's the state of the meta as of November of 2018, English standard.
We can maybe do premium, but wait until golds come out.
Yep. So, until next time, bye-bye.